Good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon again. And this is our fifth day of our FDP from EFL Department, Ramapuram campus. I welcome you all, one and all, over here. Thanks for joining us. I request the participants to wait till 3:30 for the end of the session, and then we will be posting our feedback link, and there will be a question answer session near about by 3:30. The participants can raise questions. Participants can message their questions in the chat box. Now I formally request our Dr. Rama, our head of the department, to introduce our chief guest.
Thank you, Kavita. Good things, friends, have to come to an end, and so does our 5-day online international faculty development program on language and literature, tools to understand society and culture. Happy noon, attendees. On behalf of the Department of English and Other Foreign Languages, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram campus, I welcome you all to the grand finale of the 5-day faculty development program. Today, we have an expert talk on a different and a very useful domain, English language teaching. In this context, I extend my hearty welcome to the resource person, Dr. Julius Irudayasamy, Assistant Professor, College of Arts and Applied Sciences, Dhofar University, Oman. He'll take you through the various aspects of best practices in teaching and learning as teachers and researchers. Sir, I place on record my sincere thanks to you for having taken your time off and for sharing your knowledge with us today. And I also once again want to welcome you, sir, and thank you very much on behalf of the institution and the management. But before we move to the expert talk, I invite my colleague, Dr. Emmanuel, to present the chief guest to the gathering. Over to Dr. Emmanuel.
Thank you, ma'am. Here is a short profile of Dr. Julius Irudayasamy, Assistant Professor at Department of Language and Literature, Dhofar University, Oman. Dr. Julius Irudayasamy, being as an Assistant Professor at the Department of English, Language and Literature, Dhofar University, Oman, teaches ESP courses, skill courses, and core courses at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. Apart from a book chapter, he has presented papers at the international conferences and published Scopus indexed and Web of Science research papers. His field of research includes ELT, computer assisted language learning, and mobile technology in the teaching and learning process. He has been teaching English language since 1992. First, he joined the Ministry of Education in Oman as a school teacher, and later he earned his PhD degree in ELT and got TESOL training from the Trinity College, London, and joined Dhofar University in 2007. He received the Best Teacher Award in 2005 and 2006 at the Ministry of Education and the Best Community Service Award at Dhofar University in 2018. In addition to teaching, he serves as a Quality Assurance Coordinator at the College of Arts and Applied Sciences, Dhofar University. Sorry, sir, it's indeed a great pleasure to have you amidst us this afternoon to deliberate on best practices in teaching and learning for teachers and researchers. Okay, you are welcome to the studio and to deliberate on your topic.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice meeting. Being the last day of these 5-day online international faculty development program, it's really indeed my pleasure. Thank you so much. SRM University administration in general, that's my wish. And I would like to thank the administration, the Department of English and other foreign languages in particular, especially the convener, Dr. Rama, professor and head, and faculty coordinators, Dr. Sridevi and Miss Kavita and Dr. Emmanuel, for everyone, for giving me this opportunity to address the gathering. Can you see the screen? Being one of the prestigious universities in India, it's my privilege to address such a gathering and share my experience. Of course, best practices in teaching and learning, this is just limited. What I'm going to present today is just, I would like to share my experience. Apart from that, you would have experienced better practices, or there may be other better practices. I'm willing to learn more. I joined the Ministry of Education in 1995. Since then, I have got a very good experience with the school students in teaching English language. And in the beginning, it was a very, very challenging job. I wanted to quit immediately after the first year. But later on, I thought that that first year, the challenging year, helped me a lot to move further until 2021. Once again, thanks a lot for inviting me for this professional development program. My presentation will be in three parts: history of professional development program, best practices for the teachers, and I would like to touch a few things on the researchers as well, because each and every day what we teach is definitely a kind of a research, I would say. In 1920s, it was called in-service training and even staff development program. Even I remember when I worked in Subramaniam Polytechnic, there was a profession like staff development officer. So it was limited, though I got very good training from that officer. And then later on, time to time, in all such programs, I have received very good training from my colleagues and from my higher ups. Actually, the 5 models here by Dennis Parks in 2002, it was released. It was called a kind of training. Yes, of course, training not before what we teach, during teaching, in service training. And of course, individually guided staff development, it's called, and even through observation and assessment. That is, there are many stages of training. This is one of the stages, and inquiry based, of course. Without question, there is no philosophy. So totally everything is involved in a nutshell. Like, so it's though I'm just presenting, it's a good experience for me to be along with you to take part in this professional development. Thank you so much. Best practices, if you take planning, in English we say that if you don't plan, you plan to fail. If you don't plan, you plan to fail, including myself. Okay, so without any preparation and planning, nothing will be successful. That's my principle. And as you know, you are all professionals, teachers in different categories and a different educational scenario, different educational institutions. We have various kind of, even for this 5-day, I understand that what a lot of efforts that you have put in for this, for the great success. And understanding the students community, this is a really very challenging task or job for the teachers. It's very difficult because students are not like heterogeneous in different capacity or in different skills. as teachers, we face a lot of issue, challenges when we meet students in classroom. They are not alike. Each and everybody is unique. Okay, so you know that last benchers, and they have come up. They are shining like bright stars in the future. We don't know what is inside the small box. And of course, we establish clear goals. These are all even under planning, it comes. And the classroom discussion. These students, when we deliver any lecture, any lesson, in different perspectives we think of. That means whether what we prepare, we plan, does it reach the audience? I mean, the students. In what way does it reach? In what way they are going to get benefit? I used to tell my students, even if you stay with me for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, even 40 minutes, or 40, 50 minutes, let's say, as you leave the classroom, at least you should get something, a handful, a little bit of instruction of that day should be useful. So that kind of discussion in different tasks. I know we are all under pressure. We need to complete the syllabus on time, timing. So a lot of other challenges we face. Definitely, I agree with you. And regular feedback. Yes, without feedback, even for example, at the end of the session, you're going to share your questions or you're going to ask, we have a kind of discussion. We need to get a feedback. Was it good? Was it okay? How was it useful? So of course, at the end, assessments. You know that students are very much eager to know their score. That is only one part, but assessment in different categories, they fall in different categories. Okay, now coming to teaching and culture. My topic may not directly be relevant to the conference theme, the professional development theme. However, I would say that each and every part of our teaching is without, you can't say that there is no culture in that. Right from understanding students, delivering, and feedback, at the end assessment, each and every part or bit is somewhere or other connected with the culture. Especially if you take SRM University, students are from different parts of India. If it is like one particular region, like here, if you take Oman, all are Omanis, mostly 90% Omanis. We have a few students from other countries, neighboring countries, but mostly 99%, they are under similar culture. Whereas your job in India, uh, in such university, I understand that NRI students are there and they are from different parts of India. So I understand what kind of situation or scenario you will undergo. We need to answer not just only the administration, parents, teachers, and students, and etc., etc. Mainly these four categories, in each and every nook and corner, teachers are answerable. So at this challenging circumstance, how a teacher is successfully delivering, completing the course, and assessing students and making them pass out or giving them the proper results. These are all challenges we face. And the tasks, especially now I come to the part of what kind of tasks can we adapt according to the student's level or according to the task. Differentiation, if you take this differentiation, that means like Carol Ann Tomlinson is a leader in the area of differentiated learning. I'll explain to you later what is a differentiation. And the idea emerged, and even till today we follow this. Of course, the task is same, but how well, for this we need plan, but how well we differentiate the task, because the levels of the students are not the same. We plan only one task for today's lesson? No. Task may be the same, but the variety of delivering or variety of instruction should be different. The instruction, differentiated instruction, if you take that way, the styles as per the levels of students. Designing, how well we design. For example, weak learners, we shouldn't say weak. Slow learners, we shouldn't say slow, but we need to accept as they are. So one single simple task can be differentiated in planning and preparing. We need to prepare beforehand, because they are with different abilities or different disabilities, I would say rather. So the effectiveness of differentiation shows the method benefits, because the wide range of students in different capacities. If you still want to know further information about what is differentiation, of course, we should know the learner. Who are the, who are the learners? We should know about the audience, because their mood, their temperament, and in what level they take that particular class, that particular lecture. We need to assess the learners first, because just only two eyes, but imagine in front of you 40 students. How many students are observing you, or observing us? So these are all really, again and again, I would say that's challenging task for teachers. So the tasks we need to assign in such a way that if there is a way, like three different tasks, if not at least two tasks we can plan for, like higher order thinking level, some students. Initially, this is not possible. Later on, as you know that the levels of the students, we can group them into different levels, or sometimes it's not good to group only the fast learners or bright students. We need to mix, at least in each group, one very good student to guide and help. But there are again challenges. Sometimes the slow learners, as we say, they may not agree on, or they may be silent. We need to take care of in different ways. And then questioning strategies, curriculum approaches. These are all, in short, a simple task, one day's lecture, can be prepared in two or three different ways. The goal will be the same, but the way of delivery or the way of tasks are different. These are all what I experience with my students I am sharing. So since I was successful with certain best practices I'm sharing with you, as I said before, there may be better practices than what I am sharing with you. Differentiation, again, teachers who practice differentiation in the classroom may, there are some notes if you read. Designing lessons, of course, it depends upon the learning styles. And then students share their interest, topic, ability based on the assignments what we give. And it's easy way, one of the ways I would say that assessing students in a kind of formative assessment, for example, and even classroom management, like time management, the same way, classroom management, it's very much supportive to the environment. Like not every day lecturing class, like one class completely we can leave it to the students, provided if we set the goals that this is what you are going to achieve, or you are going to do the task today. Like, of course, this is not just within 1 or 2 days. It's a continuous process, endless. Even we say that learning Like till we go to the graveyard, we learn, like lifelong learning, we say. So it doesn't end with the task or with the lecture or with that institution itself. It's on and on. Um, to make it very clear, I have got tasks. I'm not able to do the task with you, but I've got 2 3 tasks for you to understand how it's going to be like. Perhaps you can try this. For instance, here there is one task here, and there is another one, and then number 3 and number 4. Now, I'll take the first one. It depends. This kind of task probably lower level or school level students. If it is like reading, this is a passage, reading passage. It's taken from Unlock. We are using Cambridge University Press Unlock book for some of the courses here. So if it is a reading passage, like within the school level students, the 2 things, for example, here, it's about the weather, to find out the causes. Okay. Of course, using think, pair, share. Hope you know this. I don't want to explain what's think, pair, share. Okay. And here the effects. If we use this one for one part of, one set of students, and this, for example, if you take another example, this is reading based. Okay. One group can work on causes, another group work on the effects, and then later on putting together, and then they are able to write a script, or they are able to speak or give a small short presentation like. So this one task itself can be differentiated, like this is one type. So we need to plan for another simplified version, for example, the highlighted ones. And if you take one more example, let's say listening task it is. Now here there is one, of course, the listening is only one listening about this same animal. Okay. And here, for example, this is about the Western Ghats. Based on this, in case if you think that the students, some kind of slow learners, here their work is very less. They are going to identify what is discussed in that. Whereas here they have to really think about the causes, read, like skimming and scanning. Scanning is necessary, causes and the effects. Whereas here, just reading, after reading that, they are going to highlight or identify what is said here, or what is from the listening text, a listening task. And in case if you think that if we have that slow learners, we need to give some other task. For example, this one, this maybe it's easy because they are going to identify, but here they are going to write exactly the name of the animal and the color, everything they have to write. So production is there. So receptive and productive, in both the ways, tasks can be differentiated, in short. And for example, if it is like a higher level, like this is extracted from one of the Cambridge University book, that is under mass media. The lesson is about, the chapter is about mass media. So if it is like this, like higher level thinking, the students need to discuss about newspaper. Is it newsworthy? Why people read such kind of news? Why is it attractive? We need to brainstorm some ideas and then leave the floor to students for a kind of discussion. So thinking takes place. It helps in a higher order thinking. Once they have got some kind of information from the discussion, later on they can share their thoughts amongst themselves in groups. And still more, when we differentiate any task, mass media today, impact of mass media on our lives, functions, still more higher order thinking, aspects of mass media, because they are going to do this at the end of the unit. So at the end of the unit, definitely they will know what is mass media, and then how, in what other ways, in what aspects everything is developed. And it's a kind of forum. Even the using the notes, we can make the classroom into different forums, and then either they write or speak, or either both productive and receptive. In both the ways we can manipulate one particular task. That's what I mean differentiation. Now, coming to another part of that, the best practices, I would say flipped classroom pedagogical approach. To give you a quick glance, it's based on its revised edition of Bloom's taxonomy. I'll come back to that slide. Now, to understand better flipped, the preparation matters actually. Before the class, what they do, and then during the class and after the class. Now, if you look at that, the direct instruction moves from group learning space to the individual. Now, tomorrow's lecture, today itself, the students should either read or watch or listen, and then they are ready, and then it's continued to the next lecture, and that's how it's transformed into a dynamic, interactive learning environment. This is released in 2004, whereas this is not a new approach, it's an old approach. So a kind of creative. Why I mention this? For example, there are some lectures, some lessons, like as a surprise we can start as a new lesson, okay? But there are some lessons that students be familiar with that before they're exposed to the ideas in the classroom. If they know, if they have finished either watching or reading, they they will have some kind of thoughts, like asking questions the teachers, and this will help for the discussion part. So in that way, that's useful. So here, when we come back to this Bloom's taxonomy, after they finish their reading part or watching video, whatever it is, remembering and understanding is there. And during the class, they apply, analyze, and after the class, they evaluate and creating. So different modes of Bloom's taxonomy we are using these days. So that kind of flipped classroom is in good practice here. That's how I would like to share with you. And then here, before they attend the lecture, definitely they'll go through this, and then that is activated for further discussion in classroom, and later on the task or the goal, what we intend to give or get, that is accomplished. So what I mean in short, flipped teaching is like it's a bridging the institution and the home. It's connecting completely. They are not away from that, they are with us, even before, during, and after. So it's a kind of cycle. So if they have this kind of practice cycle, definitely they are with the teachers. The students are along with the teachers. The pace is the same, like they are not away from us. It can be any kind of either a video or just a lesson alone. And these days, online classes, there is no way. This is one of the best ways what we experience with the students to get connected very easily. And one more, this is also reflective teaching. Again, out of my own experience, I would like to share. It has got its history. John Dewey, that famous author in the 20th century, the first reflective practices, and with his exploration of experience, interaction, and reflection. Now, if you see this, you will understand better. Sometimes it happens unknowingly. We do that, but we don't know this is reflective teaching. Like definitely after each lecture, when we come out of the class, was it okay? Did anything go wrong? It didn't go well. Why that student was staring at me? Why that student was very sad? Why that student looked at me that way? So these are all questions like will prick you, will make you think. So these are all simple. But if we plan that reflective teaching by taking notes, it's a kind of cycle, as it's mentioned here. Now, for example, what? So what? And now what? Now it's a kind of cycle. Now this is like after. Now during the lesson, we don't take notes how we delivered. Usually we have a plan, we we finish, we execute the plan, and we come out. And definitely this is the area that everything like we need to remember and recall what happened that leads to the next lesson. And it's a cyclic, it's cyclical, it's going on and on. So in many ways this helped me. And then this is how we improve our profession, our techniques, our strategies, because we can't say that this is the best lesson. In my I always believe that I will never say that this is the best lesson. No, it's going to be better, and the best we don't know. And appropriate to the culture. Here I would like to connect with the theme. That's why I prepared this materials. Of course, we have got students have got their own textbooks, and then we differentiate the tasks, and we give their handouts. And sometimes we may miss out when we choose or when we search for any materials. uh, we need to be very careful whether it's appropriate to the culture. For example, here, mostly 99% are Muslims. Okay, so when we prepare, when we discover a lot of activities from the net, we take. So that time, we need to, I mean, the suitable materials. And even when we design tasks, in no way it should affect negatively. And then the task, even preparing the task also, it's very much related to their culture and the way of communication. um, if the teachers have good rapport with the students, that is it. Anything that we want to achieve, for instance, uh, we think that we are teachers, like in one side, like, so each and every teacher should think of like as a student, like putting ourselves into their shoes. Like, if that is identified, definitely our job is successful. Sometimes we ask students, don't you know this? Very simple. How come that you say don't know this? Yes, he doesn't know, she doesn't know. That's why he or she is here. Our job is to identify and not to like getting into inappropriate communication. And then once we understand that this is the level, these are the students, this is what a need, they are in need of that. So that kind of good rapport, like friends, a friendly atmosphere. Because students, no, we don't know what all they are thinking, what's going on in their mind. So to attract, it's one of the best practices that to be friendly with them. You know the difference now. Those days, canes they use to beat the students. Now these days, it's not allowed. So these are the changes. And if the students like, definitely you can achieve anything you want from them. I want to give one example. At one stage, my daughter, when she was in school, she said, I don't like math. I said, what's wrong? You are good at math. You're okay? No, I don't want to do this. Then later I found out that there was an issue with the math teacher. So she started, I mean, like a kind of hatred, developed hatred against the teacher. I didn't know how it happened, but these are all simple examples that if the communication, if the relationship is different, definitely students will not like us. So that's why again and again I say that being friendly, not to that extent, but to some extent, at least a smile as we enter. These are all, like everybody knows, you have got enough training. A lot of, I mean, there are professionals here. And this kind of atmosphere, once you create that pleasing atmosphere, that's the end. We can achieve a lot. So communication and classroom practice in the sense not just teaching, lecturing, and evaluating. More than that, a lot kind of discussion. Now, what they are going to take is just question and answers, because education is way beyond question and answers, not the textbook. Textbook is just a tool, a kind of instrument. How well we handle, that's what, I mean, there we are. So it's not the training that what we had in our colleges, or special training, or just this kind of professional development. When we recollect in the real classroom itself, a lot of ideas will flow into your minds. Right, now I'm going a second part of this my presentation. It's a classroom research. I would say simply, each and every lecture is a kind of research. Each and every day's task is a kind of research, like practical approach. So here, classroom interaction from the point of view of teacher training, if you take that way, Thornberry, 1996, bottom-up approach. Bottom-up approach, not what do you think and you create research, but here in the classroom itself, a kind of recording, transcription, a kind of analysis of the lesson itself in one particular lesson. For example, I'll show you later. Students' response, how was it? A kind of research. Classroom practical research. One particular lesson itself is a kind of research, it can be. And then what kind of scope of classroom research? The nature and development of students, interlanguage, the interaction between the students itself can be a research. The use of learning strategies, how well this is applied and what are the outcomes. A kind of thinking skills, cognitive styles are involved. And then efficiency of evaluating techniques. So Van Leer in 1988, this is what he has given the scope. Okay, it's a just duplicate slide. Okay, now we are towards the end of this lecture, sorry, this presentation. The COLT system proposed by Allen, Flory, and Spada, 1985. It's a communicative orientation of language teaching. So this way also, all the classroom practices can be explored, can be elaborated into small researches. What kind of activities? Classroom activities. These are all just in a broad way. Like activities, even small simple tasks, the activities, what we are doing with students, and then the outcomes of that can be considered as one part of research. And even the participants, the students themselves, the way they took part, the way they reacted against the task, and then the content itself, what kind of content or materials involved in the research, in the teaching, and that can be emerged as a research, and students modality, and in what way, and of course materials. Apart from that, there are many other tools can be considered for classroom research. That's it. Thank you so much. And these researches, I have seen many research papers written by our Indian scholars. I would appreciate if you think of Web of Science and Scopus indexed journals, because if you Google it, if you will find the database every year. It is updated, Scopus indexed journals and the Web of Science. Rather than looking for non-indexed, it's better we should check the database and then accordingly choose the appropriate journal. Sometimes it's rejected, journals papers are rejected because we haven't selected the appropriate journals, the type, and then definitely with impact factor in your profile later on, we don't know, it should be useful. It's a really valued papers if you publish in such journals. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much sir. That was an informative and excellent session we had today. We are blessed to listen to you, sir. And I have few questions from audience here, sir. Let me display it to you, sir.
Okay.
Are you able to see the question, sir?
Yes, I can see here.
Yes, sir.
This is from Mr. Sivakumar.
Yes, sir.
How the past learning affects the present learning? Tell me some points to overcome it. Past learning affects the present learning. Yes, I remember. I would like to quote Professor Chelapans. Once in one of the conferences, he addressed the audience by quoting that it's a paradox. For example, how can a teacher educated in the past teaching the current generation preparing for the future generation? So, for example, I was like the approach translation method in the past, entirely a different kind of learning took place. But now, currently, I am teaching this 21st century generation, whereas these students are going to, I mean, how is it possible to prepare with my past experience or with past education? So really, it's really interesting. Good question. Past learning affects the present learning, definitely. Completely. Certain things till today we use those strategies or techniques, but we need to adapt to the current situation. For example, I imagine that I don't know anything about technology. For that, we can't say that I don't know anything about technology. How can I teach? I didn't study anything. We don't say that, but we work hard. We keep in touch with certain things, update ourselves, and then we deliver. So I would say that in both the ways it affects, positively and negatively. Positively, if you take that like a kind of um, like acceptance, we accept um, the drawbacks and improve towards the positive. The advantages of, what are the advantages of reflective teaching? Yes, reflective teaching has helped me a lot. The advantages, it, number one, it leads to better class next day. You can list it out, 1 2 3 4 5, and then it helps you think about your students level, and it helps the planning of other tasks. Perhaps today's one particular task, it may not be the same for the next day. However, that kind of experience with the students will help us for the other future lectures. We understand in and out of that one particular lesson. It's like that. School students should be taught English directly without mother tongue, or using mother tongue. Please explain. Regards, Dr. Pramod Shukla. Okay. School students should be taught English directly without mother tongue. Okay. I'll take it into, it's again under a kind of experiment. I can give you the example of one when I was studying in the UK, preparing for this TESOL program. There was 1 week course. It's called unknown language. The program, that 1 week's lesson was about unknown language. They taught, the trainer taught us Polish, okay? Because we don't know, all the students don't know anything about A or Z about that particular language. And then we were wondering why like this, why this 1 week class on unknown language. Later, like every day, we were able to say something, and then there was a lesson, just a reading lesson. We are listening, the teacher is reading, like the pace, for example, background music. With a background music, teacher is reading like slow pace and medium, at last high pitch. So from the tone itself, though we didn't understand the language, from the tone itself, we were able to understand what kind of theme of that particular reading. At last they asked, what do you think about, at least some kind of knowledge you would have observed from this? We were able to discuss, and the teacher said, yes, the theme is correct. Whereas we couldn't exploit much on that, but this is one. And at the end of that lecture, they asked, why did you learn this? Do you understand why did we introduce this kind of lesson for 1 week? Unknown language. At the end, we had to write a kind of a project, 10 to 15 pages of project of this unknown language. We finished successfully. How? To give the confidence. For example, I'm traveling to some other country, let's say Italy. I'm teaching kind of English, right? Where nobody knows English. Or I'm going to Japan, teaching English for Japanese in that school or college where nobody knows anything about English. How is it possible? Yes, there are a lot of experiments. It's possible, they say, that you can teach the language directly without mother tongue's interference. This is one part of research. The other part of research, I'm not able to quote, but what I have read so far, why not using the mother tongue? What's the problem? Because we feel through our mother tongue, we feel that's the beauty of the language. We understand in other languages, but we feel in our mother tongue. So in two different ways, it's successful. I don't want to impose this is the best or that is the best. I accept both the ways. Some good journals, index and scopus in the Web of Science, and tips on how to publish the same. This is, in fact, a complete 1 day's discussion, or at least 1 hour discussion we need. However, the list what I have right now, it's like a Excel sheet, a big file database. I can share that with the administration or the conference chair, sorry, professional development convener, um, or simply just Google it, Scopus indexed list database or something like that. Definitely you'll get an Excel sheet. So there you'll find thousands of journals, but very simply, it's a simple tool, Control F, and then there is a box. There you type, for example, language teaching, technology orientation, keywords. If you put that keywords, definitely it takes you to that particular journal. This is one of the ways that you can exactly point out which journal. I mean, depends upon the research that what you have. So first, number one, download the Excel sheet, or if I want, I have 2019, I can send it across. Once you download, Control F, search, okay, Control F, and type that keywords. It will take you, it will show you what are the journals listed. So there, frequency, look for the frequencies, like if it is like quarterly or half-yearly, and you should go to that particular website and check the frequency and acceptance level, impact factor. Some journals, it's mentioned like impact factor 5.756, which is not real. So you need to go into the proper track. There are many journals, okay, like predated journals, all these. Now you shouldn't fall prey into that. So that's why very carefully you need to search and locate the appropriate journal. What were the original Bloom's taxonomy is refined then? The refined Bloom's taxonomy. Please explain. Highlight the specific areas applicability. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy these days, like in many areas, we use as per the requirement. It depends upon the requirement or the task what we intend to teach, and we are not going to teach the students Bloom's taxonomy. It should indirectly, it should the achievement should take place. That is the beauty of that. So actually, that again, if I elaborate, we need a lot of time to describe or explain in detail Bloom's taxonomy. Even the book that what we use, Cambridge University Press, what we use here, many textbooks we use, everything is based on, especially one version is there, Unlock 4, in one of the colleges here in the foundation program they use. It's all completely based on the research, real authentic texts based on the Gulf region. So it depends how, in what way we apply. Should I join reflective teaching course from TESAT Mumbai? Is it helpful for me to sharpen my professional teaching? Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, if you think, I don't know about this particular program or how they offer. See that the intensity of the program, if it is genuine, definitely it's useful, because this is like each and every day, daily activities reflection. That's that way in general, definitely it's very useful. If it's a short-term course, we can't call it a course, like training, fine, go ahead. Weak, who are weak in spoken English, the best way, not going for any spoken English class. No, that will not help a lot. Like studying language, no, we don't study, we acquire language. There's a difference between studying something and acquiring something. Language cannot be studied. Language only be acquired. For example, I picked up Malayalam after coming to Oman. I'm able to speak Malayalam, though I am a Tamilian, and I'm able to speak Arabic. I'm able to write Arabic. These are all like the way how much you engage yourself in practice, real practice. So that's how the language we acquire. For example, if you take a child from India, let's say 1 year, 2 years, and live somewhere in France or Germany, and after 5 years, what language that child will speak? From Tamil Nadu, a Tamilian baby, you are living with some other family. Definitely, it's not going to speak Tamil. It's going to speak that particular region, French, or the language where, I mean, it depends upon the region. So what I mean is that the more you get involved into speaking, acquiring, that's how the spoken language. Otherwise, it cannot be studied. Okay, Mr. Gurudev, how do the mother tongue influence foreign languages in optimistically and pessimistically? Okay, both positive and negative ways. Okay, mother tongue influence foreign languages. Mother tongue influences. It's a really difficult question, in fact. Mother tongue, because languages are unique. To some extent, we compare, for example, South India languages, very much closely Tamil and Malayalam is related. They say that from research, nearly 50 to 60% of the words we are able to recognize. That is because of the region, the way that everything is evolved, and the way we understand, and it's all literature based. Okay, whereas if you think of other languages other than the Indian languages, you cannot compare. We have got we are affected, even we can say optimistically and pessimistically. I don't know whether I answered your question or not. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, sir. We are nearing our end of the session. That each and every questions were answered crystal clear and elegant. Thank you so much for all the replies, sir. Thank you so much. And now I request our Dr. T. Devi to propose the formal vote of thanks of the session and for the day. Thank you, sir.
Mute. Mic is muted.
Devi, ma'am, we are not able to listen you. Devi, ma'am.
Kavita, am I
Yeah.
audible?
Just now you are, now you are audible. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Kavita. A very warm good afternoon to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure as well as feel honored to propose vote of thanks in this final day session too. On my own behalf, as well as Department of English and other foreign languages. At the outset, I wish to render our sincere gratitude to SRM Institute of Science and Technology for giving us this chance to conduct this 5-day international faculty program on language and literature, tools to understand society and culture. I remain grateful to our resource person, Dr. Julius Irudeyaswamy, for an enlightening and power-packed presentation on best practices in teaching and learning. As teacher and researcher, I thank you from my bottom of my heart for your immediate acceptance, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I am delightful to thank our director, Dean SNH, VP Academic, VP Admin for their blessings and motivation to conduct this faculty development program. We have been fortunate to be assisted by our HOD, Dr. V. Rama. You have been a constant supporter and you have given us a lot of encouragement. Thank you, ma'am.
Our sincere thanks to all the participants who have given their precious time in attending this 5-day faculty development program. Without your cooperation, definitely this program would not be a successful one. We thank each and every participant. I must not forget to thank Mrs. K. Kavita, without whose help this program wouldn't be a successful one. I wish to thank all my friends and volunteers in my department who contributed to organize and conduct this faculty development program till this last day session. Thank you one and all once again.
We thank each and every participants. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to deliver or to share my experience with professional scholars and other. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. My pleasure.
Thank
I'm
you,
not
sir.
able to see the participants here.
Let us end the broadcast and you stay online. So let me end the
Okay.
broadcast. Shall I end the
Oh,
broadcast, ma'am?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.